Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. As part of our answer writing series on general studies papers of civil service main examination, we bring to you a question that you might come across in GS paper 1. So, here goes the question. Defining third pole, explain its role and how the global climate change will affect it. So, this is the type of question that demands some form of general awareness. You got to have some idea what the third pole is, then only you will be able to explain its role as well as the as well as the effect that the global climate change would have on the third pole. So, for your awareness, the third pole is a region in Central Asia that is bound by the mountain ranges. Which are the mountain ranges which bound the third pole? The Himalayan Hindu Kush in the south and Kunlun in the north. Kunlun is a mountain range in Xinjiang province, which is controlled by China, and this Kunlun forms the northern boundary of the third pole region, and the Himalayan Hindu Kush forms its southern boundary. Often the Pamir highlands and the Tibetan plateau are included in the definition of the third pole. Containing the largest mass of ice outside the north and south poles, it aptly attracts the sobriquet the third pole. It gets its name third pole due to it having the large mass of ice, that is the third large mass of ice anywhere on the earth outside the north and south poles. Actually, the south pole and north pole in that order is spread over countries like India, Nepal, Bhutan, Tajikistan and Tibet, which is controlled by China. The region divides the maritime Asia from the continental Asia. That is to say, the region forms the boundary of the landlocked maritime Asia, that is the central part of Asia, from the oceanic or the maritime Asia. So it forms a climatic divide too. Now, justifying its very name, the third pole plays pivotal role with impacts on geography, climate, culture and biodiversity. So it's as pivotal as the other two poles. What are the pivotal role that the third pole plays? It is the largest store of fresh water outside the poles. Its glaciers have the third largest store of fresh water anywhere on the earth, and these glaciers feed the perennial rivers flowing through Asia. It regulates the climate, and it has its impact on the jet streams, which in turn affect the monsoon in Asia, in southern part of Asia, in South Asia as well as in the Southeast Asia. It causes orographic precipitation. You understand what orographic precipitation means? Orographic precipitation is the precipitation that is caused when the moisture laden winds or the clouds encounter a high mountain. Then it has vibrant culture due to its relative isolation. It has a unique and vibrant culture. It has high biodiversity due to its seclusion. That is, we have already discussed that it is a region that is separated from other places. This leads to endemicity. Its seclusion leads to endemicity. Now we take up these points in detail. The third pole and its glaciers have the largest store of fresh water outside the poles. Its glaciers feed major rivers like the Amu Darya, the Indus, the Ganges, the Brahmaputra, the Mekong, Wangho, etc. that support lives of 1.5 billion people, even more than that, because India and China themselves have 2.8 billion people. The Amu Darya is a river that originates in the Pamir mountain, in the Pamir highlands, and flowing through Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, etc. It ultimately debouches, it flows into the Aral Sea, which is a lake in the central part of Asia. The Mekong, as we have recently discussed, is a river that originates in the Tibetan Plateau and flowing through Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, etc. It ultimately debouches in the sea. Wangho is a river, is a major river, in fact one of the largest and longest rivers in the world. It originates in the Tibetan Plateau and watering the mainland China, it ultimately debouches into the Gulf of Bohai. The Gulf of Bohai, for mapping point and for the prelims paper it would be useful. The Gulf of Bohai is north of Beijing, that is China's capital, and it is bound in the east by the Korean Peninsula. So it's a gulf in between the China and the Korean Peninsula. Now, it's so high, the third pole region is so high that it affects the upper tropospheric weather like the jet streams over Tibet. Actually, what happens, the troposphere is the lowermost layer of the atmosphere, and the third pole region is so high that it affects the upper tropospheric weather, that is the weather phenomena like the winds in the upper troposphere. For an example, the jet streams over Tibet are affected, they are guided by the height of this third pole region, and these fast winds affect phenomena, the jet streams affect phenomena like the monsoon. So we can say that indirectly the third pole region affects the monsoon. The high mountains of the third pole force moisture laden winds to dump the moisture as rains over South and Southeast Asia. Actually, without the Himalayas and the other highlands, the entire South and Southeast Asia would have been a semi-arid, almost desert. The inaccessibility has led to endemic biodiversity. You can well understand that due to their seclusion, that is inaccessibility, the biodiversity in this region is not related to the biodiversity in the surrounding areas, and that leads to greater endemicity. Now, this is a technical point. The third pole region forms the meeting point of Palearctic, and Indo-Malayan biogeographical rims. Actually, what happens, the terrestrial ecosystem, that is the continents, are divided into biogeographical rims, and the third pole forms the meeting point of the Palearctic rim. The Palearctic rim starts from the Arctic region and goes down to the Himalayan ranges, to the foothills of the Himalayan ranges. It covers the entire Europe, northern parts of Asia, and the upper northern part of Africa too. And you can understand, being the Indo-Malayan region, as its name suggests, it covers the major part of India as well as parts of Malayan region, the Malaysian region, Malaysia and parts of Indonesia also. So, being the meeting point of two major biogeographical rims, this region, the third pole region, has high biodiversity too. Now, diverse ethnic groups like Tajiks, Baltis, Tibetans, Nepalis, etc. inhabit it, giving rise to diverse cultures. Please mention the Kashmiris too, otherwise they would be unhappy. So, due to presence of these diverse ethnicities, this region has diverse cultures, which is unique due to its relative isolation, as we have mentioned in the passing. However, the region is endangered by climate change. Global warming is leading to phenomena like deglaciation, which are ultimately harmful to the region. Deglaciation would lead to initial floods and then drying up of the perennial rivers. You can well understand, as the glaciers melt, they would supply much melt water so that the rivers would first swell, and when the glaciers are indeed gone, the same rivers would turn dry because they would not be able to be fed by these by the melt water. Natural disasters like glacial lake outburst floods, that is GLOFs, avalanches, that is snow slide, landslides from thawing of the permafrost, etc. would result. We would define these terms. What happens when the glaciers melt? The melt water forms lake, but once the melt water level rises so much that the embankment or the dam cannot hold, the lake is likely to break its embankment and come out as catastrophic flood, which are almost like tsunamis and may lead to loss of much life and property. Avalanches, as we have just discussed, these are snow slides. What happens? The permafrost is the upper part of the soil which is frozen as it was once under the glaciers. And if the permafrost were to melt, for example, on the slopes, the slope would not be able to hold and it would result in landslides. And you can understand, these GLOFs, these landslides, these avalanches are likely to cause much loss of life and property. There is apprehension of substantial but unpredictable change in the climate. Again, this is a dark, you can say a black swan event. The loss of snow would reduce albedo and might weaken the jet streams. Actually, what happens, what albedo is, it is the reflectance of a surface. That is what proportion of sunlight it reflects back. And you can understand that snow has higher reflectance than soil, and if the snow were to melt down, ultimately the albedo, that is the reflectance of the soil, would decrease, and this, in fact, the soil would start absorbing more sunlight and ultimately it would warm still more. And there is apprehension that with this phenomenon, that is too much warming, the jet streams might weaken. And we have just discussed that the jet streams have a very crucial role regarding the monsoons of South Asia as well as Southeast Asia. So there are apprehensions that the monsoons themselves would be weakened. The native societies and biodiversity will be put on harm's way due to disasters and unpredictable weather patterns. So, the way forward is, the need is of reducing carbon emission. The priority should be reducing carbon emission and ensuring that the the earth does not warm more than 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius. Cooperation among the region's countries, because they should cooperate about knowledge sharing and always, as well as, for example, early warning, things like early warning. Co-opting the local populace in early warning and adaptation. They should be trained about the disasters, about the hazards, as well as they are the first points of reference about any upcoming disaster, any hazard turning into disaster. They can act as our ears and eyes. So they should be co-opted in this adaptation and early warning. And also adopting various kinds of sustainable practices for the ecosystem. If time and space permits, you can mention this mission, the National Mission on Sustainable Himalayan Ecosystem, NMSHE, that is the National Mission on Sustainable Himalayan Ecosystem. The NMSHE is a part of, it is a sub scheme under the National Action Plan on Climate Change. You can mention it. So this is how we sum up our answer for today. We meet again for the next lecture in a few days. As usual, we wish you all the best. Thank you.